Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of a quantum edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix sequence. This audio podcast as part of a vortex gauntlet. This audio podcast as part of the abstracts, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production. In this audio podcast, I look at an abstract from 2023. 2023, and looking at the importance of reduced nephrotoxic immunosuppression pharmacotherapy in pediatric renal recipients, where this work formed part of a sort of a review, and where the works was originally formed in around 2023. In 2000, were originally formed in 2003, and the abstract formed was put forward to the World Nephrology Congress in around 2023. And so the abstract is as thus. So pediatric nephrology is established as an advanced clinical practice specialty in the world of clinical medicine. Though there is much research covered in this specialism, nephrologists have much concern over the pharmacotherapy is prescribed and administered in pediatrics, since they can have varying toxicological effects. The aims and objectives were where, and as part of this works was where the objectives of the work sought to establish whether renal allografts in pediatric renal recipients can have a prognosis of between a decade and 2 decades, post-transplantation with the aid of immunosuppression pharmacotherapy with reduced nephrotoxicity. The methodology as part of this work was interrogating retrospective pediatric nephrology literature. For this work was one of the best approaches to identify advances in immunosuppression pharmacotherapy. This work sought to also include obtaining experimental data surrounding novel therapeutics, including effects on immunobiology, major histocompatibility complex or MHC, human leukocyte antigen, HLA, and antigen presenting cells, immunohematology, and immunogenetics post-transplantation. As part of the analysis, by interrogating literature surrounding pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, and toxicological profile, and data encompassing common immunosuppression pharmacotherapy or pharmacotherapies utilized in pediatric nephrology. This has informed that it's still pivotal to recognize the toxicological profile in varying regimens, and especially those that prompt nephrotoxicity effects on pathophysiology and immunobiology. As part of the conclusions, is owing to the varying toxicological profile of immunosuppression, and through the interrogation of retrospective literature, this work sought to encourage a formal systematic review to further see that ultimately pediatrics who receive renal transplants can have better prognoses with implementation of can have better prognosis without implications of nephrotoxic and toxicological profile of pharmacotherapy or pharmacotherapies on renal pathophysiology. Some terminologies that can be used to identify similar works, similar similar research include immunosuppression, transplantation, pediatric nephrology, and laboratory medicine. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a quantum edition. This audio podcast as part of a laboratory sequence. This audio podcast as part of a vortex gauntlet. This audio podcast as part of the abstracts, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production.